George, you washed! Get some Tide Pods!
Paul George has been making waves once again, and this time, it's not just on the court. On Christmas Day, a conversation around him heated up as his performance and off-court activities sparked discussions across social media. But the big question remains, has Paul George really taken a step back, or is there more to the story? To understand why Paul George finds himself at the center of debate, we have to look back at key moments in his career. From his early days with the Indiana Pacers to his current role with the 76ers, PG has had his share of ups and downs. There was the infamous incident where he called out his teammate CJ Miles for taking an open game-winning shot, followed by a crucial playoff moment where he had the chance to keep Indiana's season alive, but his shot missed everything. Despite these moments, George has consistently demonstrated his skill and talent. After leaving Indiana, he sought to establish himself as a dominant force in the league, coining the term Playoff P. While some questioned the nickname, it was clear that George had high expectations for himself and his performances in crucial games. However, challenges continued to follow him. His time with the Oklahoma City Thunder saw a devastating playoff exit at the hands of a young Donovan Mitchell and the Utah Jazz. Later, with the Clippers, he and Kawhi Leonard formed a powerhouse duo, yet they suffered a historic playoff collapse that left fans stunned. His critics were quick to remind everyone of these setbacks, but George has continued to push forward. His recent move to the 76ers presents a new chapter, one where he can potentially change the narrative surrounding his career. One of the major talking points in recent times has been George's involvement with his podcast, Podcast P. Some fans feel that his focus on content creation has taken away from his performance on the court, especially given his current season statistics. His contract, worth $212 million over 4 years, comes with high expectations, and when he's sidelined or not meeting those expectations, scrutiny follows. But is the criticism entirely fair? The modern NBA player is more than just an athlete. They're brands, influencers, and media figures. George is simply taking advantage of the opportunities available to him, just like many others in the league. The backlash to his podcast raises an interesting debate about how players balance their careers and off-court interests. Recently, George also addressed the Indiana Pacers, expressing his disappointment that he never received a tribute video upon his return to play against them. While some saw this as unnecessary, others understood that PG still holds his time in Indiana close to his heart. After all, he had memorable seasons with the Pacers, leading them deep into the playoffs and taking on powerhouse teams like the Miami Heat's Big Three. Numbers often tell a story, and in George's case, they provide both support for his greatness and evidence for his inconsistency. At his peak, George was an MVP candidate with the Thunder, averaging 28 points per game while being one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. His Clippers tenure saw fluctuations, some incredible performances, but also injuries that hindered his consistency. Looking at his playoff numbers, the criticism surrounding Playoff P stems from clear statistical drops. In his worst moments, like the infamous 2020 bubble playoffs, George struggled with efficiency, shooting below 40% from the field. However, in later years, he put together elite postseason performances, including leading the Clippers to the Western Conference Finals in 2021 when Kawhi Leonard was injured. The numbers show a mixed bag, proving that while he has had rough patches, he has also delivered when it mattered. Yet, through it all, Paul George remains one of the most talented players of his generation. His ability to score, defend, and lead a team when fully engaged is undeniable. Whether he can silence the critics and elevate his game once again is the real question. With the 76ers in need of a strong playoff push, PG has the opportunity to shift the narrative in his favor. The Sixers system could provide George with the ideal opportunity to shine in the playoffs. With Joel Embiid as the centerpiece and George as a second option, he won't be carrying the burden alone. If he can consistently deliver as a secondary scorer and elite defender, he could finally shake off the Playoff P stigma. Looking at past championship teams, players like Chris Middleton with the Bucks and Klay Thompson with the Warriors played crucial second or third option roles. George can follow a similar path, using his all-around skill set to complement the Sixers' core. At the end of the day, Paul George's story isn't just about the moments that went wrong. It's about resilience, growth, and how he chooses to navigate the challenges that come with being in the spotlight. As he continues his journey, fans will be watching closely to see if he can rewrite the narrative and cement his legacy as one of the game's elite players. The bigger picture is this: where does George rank among the best players of his generation? While some argue he needs a championship to solidify his status, others believe his talent and impact speak for themselves. Regardless of what happens next, Paul George has left an undeniable mark on the NBA. The only question that remains is whether he will be able to cap his career with the one thing that has eluded him: a championship ring. So, what do you think? Will Paul George finally silence his critics and cement his legacy with the 76ers? Or will the same narrative of inconsistency continue to follow him? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on the latest NBA stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.